Well, howdy folks, welcome to this episode of Vern's Misadventure. In this one, I'm going to install all the parts needed to put a high idle feature on my 2006 F250 with a 6.0 Powerstroke. Let's do this. Alright, so here we are in the 2006 F250, and as you can see here, my truck came equipped with the Upfitter switches. And these are just switches that the factory provides that you can attach to different accessories that you may choose to use. So they're already wired, and as I understand it, the little pigtails for them are underneath here. So the first thing we'll need to do is remove this little panel here, which is real easy. You just pull down. If you have two hands to work with instead of one like I do today, you could get them both at the same time, but basically you just pull down. Now my truck has a little button there for the valet switch for the alarm. Otherwise yours would come completely off. So we'll just push this over here out of the way, and we should be good to go there. Alright, next. So the wires, as I understand it, are going to be behind the fuse panel right here. And to get to them, we just pull out these 4 bolts right here. So while I had the foresight to get a 10mm socket, I did not have the foresight to get a ratchet. So I'll be right back. Alright, so we'll just break these loose. Helps if you have the ratchet going the right way. Alright, so we'll just break them loose. Spin them out of there. One there. Threads left. There's that. That one. And that one. Nice. Okay, so it's kind of should just pull out of there once you get the bolts out. Now I've put an alarm in mine, and I don't know for certain that I'm not going to have some kind of issue with something I put in here. So if I do have one, yours probably won't be the same situation. And it looks like it's trying to come out. Okay. Well, every time I just about think I've got it, something else. Alright, so we're going to have to look around in here and see what we can figure out. The wires for the auxiliary switches, upfitter switches, are right here on that loom. So what you have is a 230 amp and 210 amp. Now in order to do this, we only need the 10 amp switch. I want to use aux number 4, which I believe is 10 amp. And let's see, I did a little research before this. Let me see. Yeah, the orange and white and light blue one, which would be this one, would be the one we're after. Look at that. What we'll do is we'll test this theory. So I have a test light here. We'll just connect that to some sort of ground. So we'll put that right there. Now what we need to do is we gotta have the key on, because aux switches are only going to work when the key is on, the run position. So we turn the key on. Oh, I didn't turn it on. Okay. Now you see that there is a light on there. So it should light up if we can get it onto the wire. It should light up. And it did. So if we turn that switch off, it goes off and back on again. So that's definitely the wire for that switch. So let's go ahead and turn the switch back off. Alright, so here's our auxiliary number 4 wire right here. And then looking a little further back in there, I've removed a couple of these connectors off of the fuse panel just for the purpose of filming. Probably not entirely necessary to do that. So there's the other loom we're going to need. Now, what we need is a power takeoff wire that would raise the idle for power takeoff. And these things already have power takeoff wiring in them because they use the same wiring harness for the heavier trucks, the F550, 650, etc., that would have a power takeoff feature, even though this particular one doesn't. So the wiring's already there. You just have to put power to that one wire in order to get the high idle. So they're right here at the end. You can see the end of my fingers there. That's where the pigtails are. And the wire we're going to want is going to be purple with green, a green stripe. Alrighty, so I've managed to separate the purple one with the green stripe, which is right there. That's the purple one with the green stripe, even though there's not enough light in there to actually see that that's the case. So now it's just a simple matter of stripping the end and crimping this together. Now I've already put the butt connector, or the crimp. I put that one end on the upfitter switch. Right? So all I got to do now is hook the other end to the other one. And supposedly this is going to work. Well, okay, so here's the connection I made. As you see, we got the orange with the light blue connected to the purple with the green stripe. And I went ahead and pulled it out the bottom just to make it easier to film. Also, I found that it was easier to do the connection that way. So now it's just a matter of putting it back together, see if it works. Alright, well I got my fuse panel back in there. Got my wire crimped together. So I'm very tempted to go ahead and try to start it, but I want to put the bolts in here before I do that, just in case it's a ground issue. I don't think it will be, but you never know. So I'll put the bolts in and we'll see. Alright, well, there we go. Let's try putting the key in. We got all the bolts in there. Let's start it. Alright, so let's try turning on the switch. We'll let it run just for a second. And we'll turn on the switch. Oh yeah, that works. Turn off the switch. Turn on the switch. Alright, well I won't lie to you, it was not nearly as easy as they tried to make it look in some of the videos I watched. The wires are kind of short. Probably an extension wire wouldn't be a bad idea, but we did get it together with just the butt connector. I did end up doing some disconnecting the connectors on the fuse panel. Yeah, so I disconnected a few connectors on the fuse panel just to get a little more room to work. Now mine, I've got, you know, I did the alarm that I put in and stuff, and so I've got some zip ties, wires connected to looms, and you know, a bunch of issues that maybe you wouldn't have if you didn't have somebody in there messing around with it before. But I found that it was easier to work once I got those connectors loose. Now those connectors will only go in one socket. They're all keyed. I actually thought I knew how it went back together, and I was wrong. But luckily they were keyed, and they only go in one connector, so that helps you out if you do that. I did it. I don't know. If I did it, I think probably just about anybody could. I would give this a difficulty factor of about 3 fits. Just for the shortness of the wires you got to deal with and trying to get them stripped and connected. I wasn't able to get my wire stripper up underneath the dash where I needed to go, so what I did was I just used a utility knife, and I cut around the insulation, and then I twist the wire and cut some more. I twist and cut, and I pulled off the insulation enough to get the butt connector squeezed on there, so that wasn't too bad. But all in all, it was really not a difficult project. It just was a little frustrating at times because, especially trying to record, it was just difficult to get the camera in there where it needed to be. So kudos to those who've made videos and actually were able to show what they were doing. But hey, we got it done, and it really wasn't too bad. So I want to thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd like to invite you to do so. And with that, I think we're going to wrap up another episode of Vern's Misadventures. Y'all take care.